I think
Where
Darkhaven was more.
was Darkhaven? Darkhaven was
the
on
official Reddit.
Yeah, I know that
and
was
they
Reddit.
were the only one that were full upon launch. And
and
then Soros Furnace filled up a couple hours later.
Darkhaven and Soros
Darkhaven was full upon like the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, I imagine so. But yeah, I mean, as we all know, that maintenance came, that 30-minute maintenance, and that fixed pretty much everything for you guys, didn't it?
Oh, it fixed a lot
Except
for me.
Team chat. Team chat still wasn't fixed.
That was probably a bug and not implemented, and yada yada.
I so much really would have had. I would have rather had what am I trying to say here? Team chat and a little more lag than, you know, like the amount of lag we had and no team chat, because team chat was just it's missing.
Yeah, it makes a
strikes at all.
So,
anything else to say on World vs. World? I mean, you know, is there?
I was thinking we haven't touched on one thing. I wanted your guys' opinions. We spoke about what classes we played. What classes did you hate facing in World vs. World? And with balancing in the game, in retrospect to what we've seen, which classes do you feel are stronger than others in PvP?
Oh, the Warrior and the Guardian, when I was playing on my Mesmer, were almost always hard to take down. I mean, if I went against them, I would always just run away. They were beastly.
Yeah, I've noticed
Warriors,
especially.
Yeah. For me, I didn't really fear any class in general, just because I wouldn't be able to beat them per se, but on a one-on-one combo, I could definitely kite them around for for at least an hour. I did that once. I kited.
Did you do that with Mesmers too?
Oh yeah, Mesmers were no problem. Pretty much my tactic with Mesmer was to hit it once. If it went down, if their HP went down a lot, then move on to the next one. Just because the clones have really low HP, so you can tell which one is real and which one isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, the class in structured PvP that I always feared as an elementalist was a warrior who was interested in getting up close and then doing some damage from range. Someone who was like a rifle greatsword warrior was like my bane, because I mean they have a lot of HP, and my only option a lot of the time, I didn't play with dual daggers the whole time. I only got enough honor points right towards the end to do that, so I played with the staff a lot. And so my only option was to try to shut them down and get out of there. Like, I mean, when I saw, I played against this particularly skilled dude who was, you know, just rolling face over pretty much everybody. I would, you know, I'd be able to cripple him and stun him with a couple of the AoEs and line attacks from the staff from the Elementalist, and I just kind of get out of there because I couldn't do enough damage to him compared to the damage he was doing to me. I was squishy, he was tanky, and my damage was simply not of the output that his was, especially when he started using his rifle effectively. You know, he was doing a whole ton of damage to me, just taking out my health with like that 4-shot spread, and I was kind of sitting there doing my auto attack and trying to do some AoE while he was moving around. And I don't know, you probably were a little bit better at the Elementalist than I was, admittedly, but it definitely, the Elementalist, as far as the staff goes, you do really have to watch what you're doing, otherwise you'll get hit pretty hard, and because you don't have a lot of up-close options at that point.
Oh yeah, I mean, like in small person encounters as an Elementalist, you don't need to think so much about the high spike DPS, at least with staff, because it really doesn't have any spike DPS. It's all about the damage over time. So pretty much what you do is, if you're going up against a melee, you would first of all blow him away, and then stun him, and then you'd switch over to water, you'd slow him, and then switch over to fire, take him down with some lava, switch back to air, and, you know, take him down that way. But
oh yeah, man,
you could do a lot of damage with the auto for air, just because it bounced so frickin' much.
Oh yeah. Chain lightning was so much fun to use. Loved it. You get a group of people, you just be able to auto attack and pretty like.
Yeah.
I remember specifically there was an instance where I was standing on the outside of Clock Tower point, and all of the enemy team comes and tries to capture this point. They're all kind of sitting in one area, and I'm like, I'm sitting out there. They don't notice me, and you know the 5 ability on the staff for air. I don't remember what it's called, but it's the one where you can set up a field, and anybody who crosses it gets
so light
stunned.
field.
Yeah. So that I was like, ooh, are they all in a tight enough group where I can do this? And I kind of panned over, and I'm like, I can. So I set down this field. All of a sudden, they panic and they run into the they run into the field trying to come out. And then I'm just like, chain lightning, chain lightning, chain lightning, chain lightning, as they're all stunned and they're just getting nuked, and they all scatter, and it was a lot of fun. So.
But obviously, like moving on to Double Dagger, it was. The playstyle, at first I tried to play it like it was staff, and that failed miserably. It was really, really bad. You had to really change your mentality based off what weapon you're using. So with Double Dagger, I really had to understand that Dagger wasn't so much about damage over time and chipping them down as it was blinking in, doing a ton of damage, and then blinking out whether they're dead or not. Just because if you stayed in any longer, you were dead.
Oh yeah, I mean, because you're in melee range at that point, and that's when the great swords and the hammers of the world will come down and just they will decimate your face. They will flatten you into a paste if you stick around for any longer, because you're a cloth-wearing little squishy man made of Jello who's doing lots and lots of damage. You are electric Jello.
I do have a question for you guys. The big thing they stressed a lot in Guild Wars 2 was that there was no Trinity. And I hear you guys saying, oh yeah, he was really tanky. And, that... Should you really be saying that, being, they don't have Trinity?
I should not be saying tanky. Well, I should be saying they had a health pool that was bigger than mine.
Well, that's not true. I mean, they might have had a health pool, but the thing is, there are still armor-based units in Guild Wars 2. There's heavy, medium, and light. Because they are heavy, they are tanky. Just because the Trinity system doesn't exist, which I don't actually play in Guild Wars 2. I don't think the Trinity system's there. You don't have a designated healer, but every class does have healing skills that are all, could be AoE and whatnot. So you can't target another character and simply heal them. But I do believe that the warriors were tanky because of their heavy armor. They have not taken that away, and especially if they get the shield and the sword and whatnot, or the shield does have damage mitigating skills on it, being able to block incoming attacks and whatnot, and every profession that I played had that ability to mitigate some damage that was taken. But being that the warriors or the guardians had those as well with high level armor, did make them a lot more beefy than other classes in general.
I think that the melee classes, as far as like the heavy armor classes, were limited a lot in a way because they had that tankiness. They had that big health pool, heavy armor, all that stuff. But the warrior, for instance, he's got he has ranged options. He has the bow, he has the rifle. But what he doesn't have is he doesn't have the abilities of, say, the Elementalist. He doesn't have the ability to do an AoE slow or these big condition things that the Necromancer can do, and he doesn't have access to that stuff. Whereas he'll have some single target damage and some AoE with his bow and rifle. He simply doesn't have that wide range of spells and abilities that a caster does, and I think that almost kind of makes up for it because they have such an advantage in melee range. And this is all PvP, by the way. I mean, PvE is completely different. That's a whole different other beast. In PvP, though,
I was really hoping to try those dungeons out just to see, because that's where the Trinity system shines, is in dungeons.
Yeah, I am very disappointed that they didn't have any kind of like leveling up, guide just for the dungeon. I mean, I understand that it would have been some extra work, but I really would have appreciated having an NPC right outside Ascalon Catacombs that'll bump you up to level 30 just for the dungeon so you can try it out, and then you leave and you're back to whatever level you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but at the same time, I think that they weren't completely successful at getting rid of the Trinity. Just because, you know, there are still tanky people, but you have the option to not do that. So I think what they really succeeded in was, you know, not having to have just one class be a healer. So you can have a designated healer and be like, okay, you're going to play the role of a healer this time. But you have the option to switch later on, you know? So, like, I got a healing staff where it had plus 50 healing power, and that was amazing. It was really, really cool. And so I would wear that staff when I was going to be a more support, but I could still do damage.
But isn't that
just my focus would be more support
and not healing?
I was healing, though. I was using my staff stuff to heal for about, like, 3,000 per tick.
Wow.
Staff did a lot.
So, in general, like, between this and Terra that is coming out, what did you guys have? I mean, do you guys have any differences or you know, the same kind of opinion on that for the Trinity system and how it affects it or whatnot?
Well, Terra sticks really hardcore to the Trinity system. I mean, they have the tank, which is Lancer. They got all the DPS in the world, and then the 2 healers. So, I mean, comparing the Trinity system between the 2 games is sort of, I don't know how to say it.
It's a moot point because
moot.
one is going after the Trinity and one is not. I didn't play Terra, but I can tell that Guild Wars 2 wants to eliminate the trilogy, the Trinity. That's like their design philosophy. They want to not be World of Warcraft. I think that's like, I think we talked about this a long time ago before the beta weekend ever started or anything like that. We talked about this, and I remember it was like, well, what is Guild Wars 2 to people who have never played Guild Wars 2 before? How do you sell that to them? How do you say what it is in a couple sentences? And I think it's not WoW. That's what they're trying to do. We are not World of Warcraft. We are not this kind of MMO. We are trying to do something different. And so when you compare Guild Wars 2, like, oh, is it better than WoW? No, it's different than WoW. It's different than Trinity MMOs. It's not better or worse. WoW does some great things with the Trinity. It's got raid events. It's got dungeons. And my favorite part of playing WoW when I played it was dungeons, because, you know, you had those dedicated roles, and if one person failed, and the whole thing was over, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. It was fun.
So,
but, you know, Guild Wars 2 is different.
So
it's
the big question would basically be on the Trinity system is, do you guys think that we would be able to go through a dungeon without a person being dedicated to the AoE heals or whatnot? Would everybody be able to go into a dungeon using simple control methods to overcome?
It is actually something. It is something that happens in Terra quite often. Is we do, like, it is a Trinity MMO. Like, you need a tanking healer. I've done dungeons just being a tank myself, no healer like in the party. I've done dungeons without a healer, without a tank in the party, because of dodge mechanics that everyone is able to sort of keep themselves alive.
So
Paul has been there with me, and he can.
I think it works in that pretty much it'll work assuming that the people who have AoE heals or people who can heal others do heal others. So you can do all the damage you want as long as, you know, you're in fire, you're damaging. Oh, my recasts are up, and I see that my people are dying. So I'm going to heal some people. The big problem I had was that I didn't know when people were dying, just because I couldn't see that classic red bar unless I clicked on their name.
That's something
I
I
noticed
noticed.
being in a party. If you're in a party, though, that does change. You can see that.
Well, you can, but it's still really small on your screen, so you don't see it at a glance.
They need to fix their UI, I think, for
I think they did it on purpose, though.
But the problem is,
they did it on purpose in that
I've had the problem I have is I cannot find my party members.
Yeah,
like,
that's tough.
I played with a bunch of my friends, and we're running around, and we're like, where are you? And it's like, I'm right beside you, and we were spinning the camera around, and there's no, like, point visible on your screen to show, like, a blue thing above your person's head.
They show a blue dot.
The colors are a little different.
I know, it's little, it's mini-map, but I mean, like, it's not really noticeable. I mean, I don't know why. I just had so much trouble finding my party members.
Oh, I didn't have
Especially
a
running
problem
around
with
an
that.
event.
So,
Like, we did the Sanier event.
so then let's just go
With,
ahead and go down the list then. I mean, Kellen, do you think the Trinity system exists?